Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And so we're going to be talking about third eye at last again.
And it's going to be really interesting. A whole lot of information has come in and flooded in. And then I've been doing some reading and trying to figure things out. And I have some things written down, and we're going to talk about what exactly is it doing to our world. It's crazy.
Yeah, and again, from what we've gotten, there's absolutely nothing to fear from third eye at last. You think it's just a coincidence that it happens to be named what it is. There are no coincidences. You know, this is taking a peek at the Schumann. As we see the power 26, there's been some pulses coming from the Schumann. And yet, you know, it's interesting that so much technology seems to be having a lot of problems. Could it be that some of the technology which has been based in lower frequency goals is having a hard time because of the lower frequency nature of some of the goals of those that have created some of these technologies? Yet at the same time, what's been coming through to me too is that I think we could have a relatively smooth transition. I think we can shed the dark matrix that has been overshadowing this planet during the Kali Yuga. And I think we could still utilize certain things to better ourselves, to better society and life. I don't think it has to be an all or nothing type thing, so to speak, but at the same time, we have to be aware of what is truly good for us and what is truly holding us back. That is something to make note of. So it's interesting. This right here, you can see the KP has been running around 4 and 5, so on the borderline of a minor geomagnetic storm. Yet there has been no major solar flares at all. They've been having lots of issues with, you know, the data coming in. Again, lots of technology glitching. Over here, they're talking about what yesterday appeared to be a blackout. Today is apparently proving to be different. The source of the charts, Tomsk University in Russia, is simply not updating the page where they are normally published. The reason seems to be that too many bots, NPCs, are using their data and charts. In direct contact we had some time ago, they explained the problem is not so much the sharing of their data, but the automation created by bots. For example, those from Twitter that capture the images automatically and publish them directly without any human intervention, thus exceeding the limits of their policy. The data is actually available, albeit in a limited way, but the bots can no longer access them. I mean, I get this all the time. I got to take 6 to 12 tests every single day to prove that I'm human. You know, it's just par for the course, and energy costs are skyrocketing. In some ways, you know, it's partially due to these data centers that are coming up that are taking huge amounts of energy. All this is connected. Everything is connected. And yes, absolutely. Third eye at last is a big part of this. You know, again, it's been just a horrible joke. As adorable little birds just looking in and saying, "What are you doing?" While he goes and gets some seed. It's been a horrible joke that NASA is giving us stuff that looks like it's coming off of a 1950s press conference when, you know, Joe down the street with his 6-inch, you know, telescope that he got at Kmart gives you better pictures. It's laughable. It is absolutely laughable. You know, I mean, NASA is kind of a laughing stock, really, when you look at it. It's like, how can they give us anything with straight faces? And I think sometimes they have a hard time keeping their faces straight. You know, there's a lot to Third Eye Atlas. How about sending a Fibonacci signal, 813, 85, 13, 8? with mysterious message. The gate awaits. Did you guys see this? This from back on Halloween. Was it emitting a Fibonacci sequence? Again, I don't think there's any way you could look at third eye at last and think that this is just a random chunk of ice with no intelligence guiding it. That's impossible. This is talking about, looking and decoding one of these signals coming through as a message that reportedly reads, observe, prepare, understand, the gate awaits. What? The gate awaits. And this is coming from, again, an interstellar object. So they say, yes, a lot of people talking about these mysterious pulses. And, could this be a message? If it's using the Fibonacci sequence, it's certainly a message, because again, the programming of this matrix is just that. It's programming in the matrix. And that programming exists in order to give us this reality that we experience and learn and grow from. So this is correlating it to a message from Fatima. You remember, again, the vision at the miracle of the sun at Fatima. So the signals were reportedly detected on 13th of October, 2025. The 108th, 108 is a sacred number. There's 108 beads, typically on our mala beads, because 108, that gives you 9 when you look at it, it's completion. And yet 108 is also significant in and of itself. So 108th anniversary of the miracle of the sun at Fatima. Again, that is a perfect example. The miracle of the sun at Fatima. What was the message? And this video is not about that, but it's about saying that what we get and what comes out there for public consumption always is covered up in the dark matrix. So the miracle at Fatima, what's that third secret? It's always, doom and gloom and death and destruction, World War III and cataclysm, et cetera, et cetera. That's the system putting in their programming because that's what they thrive off of. Whereas the miracle at Fatima, what we got was that, it's inevitable that humans are going to wake up. And we did do, we did trance channeling on that, and we shared that with you. I think it's on Heart's Home still. And the message that came through, I mean, Cindy literally was channeling Mother Mary. The message came through, no, this is the inevitability of consciousness awakening, at least in some on planet Earth. Maybe not all, because, perhaps not all are capable, literally not capable at this point in time of understanding the more nuanced spiritual aspects of things. But yeah, this was a legit miracle is what we got, so to speak. Again, and when we look to this, what are we really talking about? They're non-terrestrial beings, they're ultra-terrestrial. There are some good and there are some that we might say are malevolent, at least towards humans. But yes, there are a lot of benevolent ones towards humans. And if your third eye is awakened, you'll be able to feel the difference between the two. It's just plain as day, as being able to tell the difference between chocolate and vanilla ice cream, and both are good in my mind. But at the same time, it is that simple. It's just obvious, and people may say, well, how can you possibly tell? Well, if your third eye is not awakened, you are going to have to go on facts and figures. You're going to have to weigh evidence. But if your third eye is awakened, you'll know. And this is the knowing that the Gnostics talked about. But in reality, too, it's pretty obvious that this is all about consciousness and awakening. Messages. They can give us messages from above. And I'm going to hand off to Cindy in a minute. Again, when you look at all the symbolism out there, you see Anunnaki with a pine cone. Why are they holding the pine cone? Because they grabbed our third eye. They changed what was naturally inherited in being a human, and they restricted it. and you look at the pine cone at the Vatican. You look again at the symbolism of the two intertwined snakes, serpents, going around a center pole. Again, that's the Ida and the Pingala and the Sushumna. This is all about the awakening of your Kundalini energy, which has to be done with care. Buddha with a pine cone head. Yeah, because his pineal gland's functioning, he sees the bigger picture. He knows the bigger picture. Again, our energy field is a torus shape, and so is the Earth, and so is the universe. This is just par for this reality. This is how things work. The Dyson sphere in the Vatican. Yeah, harnessing the energy of our sun. And, the Pope is the one that's controlling the pineal glands of the masses, at least. That is how it has been in the past. Again, the Pope being symbolic for the dark matrix itself. And again, taking the teachings of Yeshua, Jesus, and distorting it into a blood sacrifice. And, again, that whole paradigm of original sin and there's something wrong with you because you were born. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, as your third eye awakens, you can see this. The chakras, somebody was saying in one of the forums, just like there's, chakras are silly. There's no such thing. Yes, there is. It's been scientifically verified if you would care to look. There are NIH articles, again, about the chakra system. They are multidimensional portholes. They are stargates. You have stargates in you. You are able to travel through different realms. This is inherent in us. Why is, the messenger of the gods, by the way, messenger is the original translation of angel, comes across as a messenger. Everything has been distorted by the system, and it's been distorted to keep us in the dark. But the light is spreading. So when you look to Mercury, Hermes, the messenger of the gods, he's holding, again, the Kundalini is the key. It's all about awakening your third eye. Yes, the eye of Horus, the symbolism. It's your pineal gland. It's always been your pineal gland. They have shut it off through fluoride, through poor food, poor diet, frequency warfare. This is what it's all pointing towards. We could see the symbolism. It's so clear, so obvious, yet it's not for the masses to know in a Kali Yuga. Now it's time. And yet many of the masses will not be able to comprehend this. They will not be able to understand this. So again, we talk to those that we can. We share the info with those that we can. Some will not be able to shed their indoctrination in this life, and that's okay. They'll have many other lives similar to this to go through and work on things. The soul transmigrates. We take new bodies, and we just have experiences to learn and grow from again and again. So when you, again, look at all the symbolism, it's all pointing to that one thing. If therefore your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. They did keep some of the real mysteries in there, but again, these are not mysteries in certain other traditions. This is not a mystery. If you look to Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Shintoism even, and again, the mystery traditions in the West, because the West is what has been utilized as the arm and military and policing force of the dark matrix. So, again, they get us to worship the messenger instead of really absorbing what the message is telling us. It's telling us to anoint yourself and awaken your third eye. We have been doing a series over on Patreon that we're going to keep expanding on and giving you a lot of how-to. One of our beloved 86-year-old followers that we had a session with yesterday, we have a regular session with her every couple weeks, as is the norm with many of our students, you may say, people we work with. And she was just saying how, I can't thank you enough for the Qigong videos because it's transforming me. It's loosening up my hips, my back. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting healthier. I'm feeling better at 86. than I have in years. Yes, 86 is not too late. It's never too late. Again, I do think that our lifespan can double, triple, quadruple, at some point maybe be tenfold. It's been the system that's been holding us back. And there are techniques so you can feel the etheric, so you can feel the different layers to your energy body. Absolutely, we are going to be going into this in much more detail. So, without further ado, I will give it to my wonderful, beautiful, talented, gifted assistant here.
So, yeah, I don't think you're ever too old to start over, but I do think, we can get too old to keep making the same mistakes. So it's all about patterns, it's about finding those patterns in life that are not working for us. So I had our dear friend sent me an email with some very important information, scientific information, and I do appreciate the science when they are able to encompass something like consciousness in a way that's science-backed and people can understand it, although I don't always absorb it, so I have to read it, and I absorb it differently than most people. But, this scientist, I hope I don't butcher his name, Sung-Chul Ji, PhD, he came up with this information about Three Eye Atlas, very, very similar to what we have been talking about, that the pattern is a conscious movement. It's come here to help us. And I've said from the beginning, it's come here to give us an equalizer. It's come here to help us rise up and above through this Fibonacci sequence that it's putting off. Now, I have to say, in my own work, this is what I use. I use the Fibonacci sequence and I pattern people. It's a very gentle way to bring about a calmness in the body. So when it comes to your biofield, and that is basically your aura. There is a membrane around your body that holds your aura, and it holds your light in there. And when that light is disrupted, it can bring about a lot of noise and a lot of stress. It can bring about old memories that create distortions, or they create static in the field. But when you use the tuning forks, they are used to scan and adjust these distortions, kind of like smoothing out wrinkles, so that things that come in and out of your energy field are much easier to adjust to, instead of like all of these lifetime jolts that keep hitting you one after the other after the other. It's like the difference between stumbling through life with all of these obstacles and walking through life through smooth coherence. And I just have to bring this up because it's going to explain a lot about what I feel Three Eye Atlas is doing for all of us. It's bringing about an enormous amount of coherence that we really, really needed. And no, some people keep saying it's just a rock. It's not just a rock. This is definitely a response to consciousness. How long have we been saying we need change?
Well, you were saying again, if beings on a higher density want to interact with us and be able to affect us in a physical way, you have to use tools that are of this, frequency.
Yeah, this density. So in order for them to change our frequency here in the 3D, we need a 3D object. And Three Eye Atlas currently is that 3D object that is coming through, touching us in the 3D to recreate our experience to the divine nature, which it has always been meant to be, to bring us back to blueprint. So this is definitely a shifting point. So we look at the Fibonacci sequence and the golden spiral, and it appears everywhere: galaxies, hurricanes, seashells, embryos, even the human ear. It's where a non-biological object uses the same geometric code as life, consciousness, and coherent energy systems. So it suggests alignment with something fundamental and intentional. And this is why sacred geometry folks are losing their minds over Three Eye Atlas. They cannot believe the consciousness that is embedded in this beautiful divine object. I think it's just absolutely, jaw-dropping what's going on right now. So, what this golden spiral is, it's literally the expansion of life, the unfolding of awareness, the blueprint of cosmic order. That is huge. It's the curve of least resistance, the path energy takes when it seeks coherence. And if a comet behaved chaotically, that would be normal. If a comet emitted random noise, that would be normal. If a comet showed no pattern, that would probably be normal. But when it comes from interstellar space and it expresses organized sequences, encoded geometry, harmonic ratios, it starts to look like intelligence in a symbolic form. So, this is all about life. This is a cosmic intention. I mean, isn't it interesting that, we are still going through a lot of grief in our world. There's a lot of injustice in our world. A lot of hurt still happens, but I think we've been heard. I really think we've been heard. So, this is the universe expressing intention through patterns, and these patterns are arising from an intelligence. So this can really change everything. This is a game changer for us. So when we look at biofield tuning, it really helps create a pattern for you where those things that you were intended to do in this life, you're going to be able to do them. And it helps you allow those things that are meant to fall away in this life. It helps them fall away. It makes that break easier. It makes that break unmistakable. Maybe you've been in and out of a relationship for 5 years and you're just not sure, do I stay or do I go? Well, with a pattern like this from the cosmos, something is going to come along and say, hey, this is what you do. And there is going to be no question. No question.
So when Cindy works on you energy-wise with her tuning forks and her intention, it's a repatterning. And what 3i Atlas is doing for us is it's a repatterning. It's on a huge scale.
That's why I'm just bringing it up in our biofield, because it's really hard to comprehend how much we are being repatterned. So if we look at tuning forks, they resonate on the cell. Like I can recalibrate the liver, I can recalibrate the heart, I can recalibrate the organs to a perfect blueprint so that those cells are like, hey, I remember what I'm supposed to do. So they start doing their job. And it's like we are being hit with this huge cosmic remembrance of who we are and activating us. We are like the individual cells. So it's like we're getting hit with a tune, a frequency to say, hey, this is who I am. This is who we are. So, it definitely shifts the local information field for you, the person, when you do a tuning, but for the planet. This is our local information field. So this is definitely cosmic intention to the highest degree. And I've always loved tuning forks. I knew that they were very important for this world and for people and for humanity. And I know 3i Atlas, this is a huge unfolding. It's like the seed is finally sprouted and now things are going to be able to grow.
Yeah, and again, just the labeling of this, it's a logical labeling. Mm-hmm. It's symbolic too, strongly symbolic. 3i Atlas, the third interstellar object, not a coincidence. And what it is again, I could look at this and say, the beings from higher density, they're looking at us, because doesn't that look like an eye? Yeah, they are looking at us. And what are they doing? They're sending us frequencies to help us overcome everything that the dark matrix has done to us. Which includes basically turning off DNA, again, that junk DNA. They have messed with our DNA, messed with our programming. They have tried to waylay the natural order of things. And humans, it is said in Chinese mythology, in Greek mythology, in the Hindu mythology, we look all around the world and we see these myths that talk about when we are in a golden age, humans are just like the gods. There's no difference. We have all the abilities that the gods do. And when we're talking about these fallen gods, the lower frequency vibrational ones, yes, they have a lot more technology than we do at the moment. But we have innate natural technology that they've let wither and die. And so, in many ways, when you may have heard it said that Satan and his fallen angels are jealous of us and our relationship with Source. Yeah, because they've given it away. They've atrophied. They've relied on technology. They've merged with AI and the Borg collective. They become the Borg. And, they've thrown that intimate cultivation of Source, which is in all of us that are, again, fractals of the true one source of all. They've thrown all that away. And it's truly sad when you think about it. And, yet again, that is not something that we have to do. No, we should be cultivating the source that is within us. In Hinduism, the whole point of being is self-realization. Well, what do you mean, self-realization? Well, again, who are you? Who are you really? Who do you really want to be? Really going deep into that. It might sound silly to some that haven't ever done any deep meditation, but it's not silly. Discovering who you really are and what you really want is something that is of prime importance, because what do we get in this world? It's conformity, and the world defines you as, you're Joe Smith, you're a fireman, a lawyer, whatever it is, a metal worker, you're the air conditioning repair person, or, you're Susie homemaker, or maybe you are, an executive, an ad executive, a marketing agent. No. That's not who we are. That's what the dark matrix wants you to think of who you are. The dark matrix wants to give you goals to chase, like to have more than your neighbor, to have the bigger house, the more expensive cars, all this. That's not who we are. That's just all that the dark matrix uses as a tool to keep us from knowing who we really are.
So this is our time. This is our moment. This is something that's really historical. And I want to go back to the Fatima for just a moment and touch on the 108th year. That is so important. That is so extremely symbolic, because, the reason you have the 108 beads is because it connects you to the cosmos. So this is like the connection day to the cosmos.
Yeah, again, it's even in the Bible that, Jesus spoke openly only to the inner circle, to the masses in parables, because it wasn't for them to know. Because many of them wouldn't ever be able to understand. They literally are going to need hundreds or thousands of more lifetimes before they get to the point where they're ready to graduate and go to another level. But what this is signaling is that it is graduation time for those that are ready, for those, again, what we would call starseed light workers, for you that volunteer to come backwards. You've already been in these higher realms, and you're dedicating your time, energy, and effort to help awaken others. Well, it's graduation time. For those that truly want to go ahead and move forward, it is graduation time. And what Third Eye at Last is doing is enabling the natural order to take precedence over the dark matrix.
Just in time, because I think we have all been really waiting for this time. Now, how quickly or slowly is that going to happen? These things take time. I mean, true healing takes time, and it also takes a bit of a dismantling. So sometimes you might not be able to get all the things that you need. There could be some type of disruption, and for things to correct themselves, because many times for things to correct themselves, you have to kind of take them apart and break them and put them back together. So there could be a lot of that going on, and that takes time.
Absolutely. So as always, guys, we thank you for your support. We look forward to your comments. Please do leave a comment for the algorithms. You know how that works. And we just want to thank you guys for all that you do to help awaken this planet. And if you feel inclined to join us on Patreon, we welcome you. Much love, source bless, and namaste.
Namaste.